This is the Investor Connect podcast program. I'm Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of this show in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, family offices, private equity, and many other investors for early stage and growth companies. I hope you enjoy this episode. Interested in learning more about investing in startups, launching a new startup and need to raise funding? The Startup Funding Espresso is a daily podcast in a short, concise format delivered to your inbox every day, Monday through Friday. In the time it takes to drink an espresso, you can learn about startup funding. To subscribe, go to investorconnect.org and put your email into the pop-up box. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today we're here with Angel Ribo, the CEO Confidant. Angel, can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. And obviously, thank you everybody who's listening to us today. Yeah, so basically, as you realize, my accent is not from Texas, although I live in Texas. I came here 10 years ago after living in 7 more countries before. I'm originally from Spain, close to Barcelona. I was born there, and very early on in my life, I studied a couple of foreign languages, and that really was the starting of an international career. In the 90s, I left Spain for good, and I started actually a career in corporate America. My first employer outside of Spain, permanent employer, was actually in the UK. And since then, I've worked in corporate America until 2016, when I left corporate America, and I started basically 2 different ventures. One, which is my business, which is the CEO Confidant, the brand. And the other one, which is my nonprofit, it's called Wisdom for Kids, and we help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using the local resources. That's my life, Hall.
Oh, great. So what led you to start work in the entrepreneur space?
Yeah, so basically in 2015, I had a spiritual experience that not a lot of people know about. But after having lived in Latin America for 10 years and worked for 15, I really learned a lot, and I saw a lot. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of poverty in Latin America. There are 81 million kids in Latin America that live in poverty, and 21 of them don't have access to drinking water. Okay, so just picture that in your mind for a while. And it's funny because the companies I was working with, they always were. I mean, they were all like high ticket products and services they were selling, and the companies they were selling to, if I wanted to close those businesses, I had to reach out to C-level executives all the time. So I was constantly going to those manufacturing plants to serve them with the products and services I was selling at that time with different companies. And I was always reaching out to the C-level executives with the higher, management in those companies. But every single time I would go to one of those manufacturing plants where those, our products and services were used, and talking to these highly influential and impactful people in the community. At the same time, just before going to those places, guess what? There would be kids coming to me. Hey, senor, would you like to have your car washed? Would you like to buy some gum from us? Would you like to, allow us to keep your car safe while you are inside the plant? So in 2015, I had this experience that was very clear to me that I had to be the connector of the unconnected. And it's so funny because that's really been the mantra of my entire life, always connecting the unconnected, connecting the people that are typically unconnected. And guess what? I mean, we've been 18 months already through this, let's say, global insanity. And I think that people right now are literally craving for connection, Hall. And that's why, I consider myself really like someone that has constantly been connecting the unconnected. And I keep on doing that on a professional basis with, the CEO Confidant brand, and with Wisdom for Kids and the kids in poverty in Latin America.
Well, it's great. Well, tell me more about Wisdom for Kids. How does it work?
Yes. So basically, we identify, communities. We are 3 co-founders. I'm the president. The other 2 are in Mexico. And basically, we identify communities where we think there's a high level of poverty. Typically in Latin America, there's like 3 or 4 different kinds of communities, right? The ones that have the least poverty are the cities, and it's typically 25%. Suburban areas is 50%. Rural communities are 75%, and indigenous communities are 95%. So for the sake of being more, effective with what we do as Wisdom for Kids, we try to identify indigenous communities. We talk to the community leaders and we tell them, hey, we would like to do that. We would like to actually start your kids in your community on an entrepreneurial journey. We don't say it like this. Obviously, we use their words and their language, obviously. But I guess what the first question is from them is, how much is that going to cost us? And we always say, yeah. And that's how much, because they say, we've never heard this before. Why would anybody come here and help us to have a better future, right? Because we tell them, we would like them to give a better future for themselves and for the community. I say, no. It's not going to cost you anything. It's just what we do. We just like to do this. We just like to give back to the communities, and we like to do it this way. And then we start telling them, hey, it consists of this, the starting point is this, and then it's this and this and this. So basically, the first touch point when we reach out, when we actually physically go to those communities, what we do is we deliver a workshop that it took to us 2 years to develop, because we wanted it to be really impactful. We wanted really to leave the kids, when we left the community, we wanted to really leave the kids with something that they could anchor to, and also that they could like remember throughout their lives, right? So we even had 2 PhD students doing their thesis work on that specific workshop that we developed. It's a very impactful workshop. It's completely different. Don't expect any whiteboarding or blackboarding of concepts. We all know what entrepreneurship entails. It's rather like a very high energy kind of workshop in which we tell the kids, remember what we're talking with kids that live in poverty. We basically open their minds, their brains, their hearts to another possibility, which is becoming their own boss. And we sing, we dance, we jump, we play games, we tell them stories, and we meditate. So it's really a very unique way to approach entrepreneurship. And then we identify the kids that we think could be better out of those, communities and kids that we see every time we go there. And then our local volunteers start an entrepreneurship, journey with them. The reality is that for us, it was the first times we did it was literally life-changing, because you tend to think that the kids have seen it all, but the reality is that the kids are really capable of embracing anything and absorbing anything. And specifically, for instance, the meditation that we do with them, in which we tell them how infinitely powerful they are, how many possibilities they have in their lives. Again, everything using neuro-linguistic programming, language and everything. This changes them completely. We thought in the beginning that, oh my God, how are we going to make kids meditate? They've never done it. Guess what? They're natural at meditating. Natural. So they are actually embracing those concepts and things that we tell them much more openly than anybody else. So it's really a life-changing experience. And very often it's funny how I'm very active on LinkedIn. I get messages from time to time from people that know I'm involved in Latin America with entrepreneurs. And they tell me, hey, I would like my kids to go and see this, because I don't know really. I mean, my kids have never seen that and they cannot imagine what it is. We would like to come with you to those missions. And I tell them all the time, I mean, you're more than welcome, but obviously we would like to get all the liabilities and all these things really squared down, so we are able to make sure that everything is safe and we can go to those communities and teach those kids. But it's a life-changing experience for everybody involved, Hall.
Well, that's great. Well, I understand you also work with founders on their company, and how do you do so?
Yes. So basically, I'm very active on LinkedIn. The first thing is, so my market is there. As I said before, with my company, with the CEO Confidant, with the brand, what we do is we help both corporate CEOs and established entrepreneurs to bridge the gap globally for expansion and exposure as a way to accelerate the growth of the businesses. We do a lot of work on LinkedIn. You will see that I have a huge outreach there. I'm very active. I post almost every single day. And it's this way, with every single piece of content, that I connect with my audience. I look for people. They can be in corporate America, they can be entrepreneurs. I look for people that really want to change the world, that really want to change themselves, and that they want to leave a legacy. Those 3 things. So I don't focus specifically on people that want to, or specific industries, but rather on, let's say, the character, the personality of the CEO or of the founder, business owner, entrepreneur, self-employed that wants to work with us. And then we basically have a conversation about, you've developed all these services, or you're trying to do it depending on in which stage they are, right? There's people that are still on the fence and they don't know exactly what product or service to offer. And then, we follow different strategies to do that. What's the, and last year, for instance, that a lot of people were pivoting and reinventing themselves. We were talking a lot about that. And we were talking about, how to go from where you are today to providing your market with a new value proposition, a new product, or a new service. And that requires certain things. With other people, basically, they have already a product or a service. They have, let's say, their intellectual property already developed, and they want to basically grow by going to other communities that they can serve. And those communities being, abroad in other places. The reason why my brand is the CEO Confidant is because I have helped more than 1,500 companies and their executives in the last 20 plus years in 33 different countries. So that's putting all this experience together is that I'm able to help all the business owners and the executives that ask me to do this. When it's a corporation, they have the things more established, and then let's say that we start by making sure that their proposition, the value proposition, is going to be valid and valuable in that particular geography that they want to deploy their products and services, they want to sell them. And then obviously we analyze if are they financially ready, what are the other support systems that they need in place, do they need recruiting companies, do they need tax experts, many other things that they might need in order to be able to be their legal assistants. There's different ways to expand a business internationally, and it typically has different stages. And we help them do that. But the most important thing is always how to grow your business, how to make your value proposition unique in the area where you want to expand or where you are already.
Can you talk about a few success stories that you've worked with?
Yes. I can talk about, obviously, in so many years, I can talk about a lot of successes and failures. And maybe one of the successes I like to share the most was one of the companies I helped grow a lot was actually a company that were originally like 2 people and actually were a couple. And I will never forget the time when they came to see me with a very small car, and they really wanted to do it. And they were really super excited. In 3-4 years, actually, they ended up having over almost 40 employees. So how did we do that? Basically continuously analyzing, continuously going or looking for unconventional knowledge. How can you, in a competitive market, provide, in this case was engineering services, high-tech services, how could they provide those services in a different way so their services in this case would be considered as number one choice. They were in a market in which products were like the most important thing, and the rest of the people in the market that weren't really making an effort to have their own, a value proposition differentiated from the others as far as services go, and they did it very well. And having such a large, already startup company kind of thing, they did a great job bringing a lot of people and training a lot of people. Their onboarding was really, really, really good. It was a pleasure for me to be helping them all the way home.
Great. And so what's your advice for people investing in startups? What do you tell them to do before they write that first check?
Well, there's a lot of things. It's good that you asked me the question because I'm involved here in Dallas with a few business accelerators. So I have this conversation often with different types of people, right? Obviously the most important thing for any investor is do the proper due diligence. It's a no-brainer, but you really have to meet with the owners, founders, with the entire team. Obviously, have a look at the deck, the investors deck. Make sure that it really contains everything that it should contain. Where is the effort and money come from so far? What are the sales strategies for the future? How are they going to keep afloat? Do they really know what being profitable means? Those are all basic stuff that through the due diligence process, they are all on the surface. I still obviously believe that the personality or the character of the founder or co-founders is very important because it tells you really how they are going to behave down the road. You only get to know that by their experience or by the recent history, but it's still something that you can make some calls, you can ask for some referrals, and you can eventually you can get all the information that you need. But it's definitely the proper due diligence, and never underestimate a proper, thorough, deep due diligence, Hall.
Understood. Well, in the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
Well, maybe I would like to share with everybody my main business mantra. And the reason why I want to do it is because, as you know, we live in a world that is changing rapidly. And if we don't learn the basic foundational skills to be able to adapt to change and make it an opportunity for us continuously, I think that we're going to fail. And talk to everybody of you that are listening to our conversation today. And I want to share my main business mantra, as I said, which is take imperfect action now. Nothing ever is going to be perfect in your business, right? You will want to get close, but never is going to get, perfect. I would really like to advise you to, every single time that you have an idea, you have something in mind that you think is going to work, try to give it not only a thought, but put it in action. Put it in action. Start going to potential future prospects or clients. Take action immediately, even if not everything is taken into account. It doesn't matter. Get some market feedback first, and then put in place in the background, in the back office, in your operations, with your operations team, the rest of the strategy that you need to put in place. But go talk to your clients, take imperfect action as soon as possible. Now, that would be my 5 cents, Hall.
That's good advice. Perfect is the enemy of the good. And so it's a good thing to, get out there and start working on it as soon as you can. So how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. It's very easy to find me. My name is Angel, Angel, last name Ribo, R-I-B as in boy, O. And my brand is the CEO Confidant. If you go to LinkedIn, you will see me. Actually, if you Google me, you will see that I'm active every single day on every single social media outlet. And also, if you want to send me an email, it's very easy. The email address, it's angel@angelribo, one word, .com. angel@angelribo.com. And thank you for having me, Hall. It's been a pleasure. And thank you, everybody, for listening to us.
Great. We'll put that in the show notes. I want to thank you for joining us today and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Hall T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.